Hey guys, how's everybody? Oh, so guys, this is going to be a good full moon. First of all, it's going to be a very positive full moon. It's going to be intense because it is a Scorpio full moon. I also have a lot of notes. I have a lot. So it's going to be kind of a long one today, and I'm going to try to go slow because my throat chakra has been really unhappy. I also have my tea prepared and everything. So I'm going to wait a couple minutes before I get started. But how is everybody doing? Moon in Gemini. Oh, oh, are you ready for the nodal switching? I mean, it happened today, but hopefully you're ready for it. I've been trying to let myself cry more when I need it. Good, Ben. Good. By the way, I noticed you in the whatchamacallit, the premieres I did yesterday. You were very active in there. But yeah, I think that's really good, especially with this full moon. Like, just let that happen if that's going to be coming up for you. Okay. Let's see. Hello from Roanoke. Okay. Let's see. Hey guys, but I hope you guys are doing good. I feel like the energy is like, I think we're starting to really feel the shift into this full moon energy, and it's going to be an intense one because it's a super moon. I know I've been feeling it. Like I've already had like weird mood swings. I'm a Sun Scorpio, I'm also Cancer rising, so it's like, so moons, I usually am affected by the moon, but this one particular is really going to be affecting me. And even as I was like getting ready and doing all my notes, all of a sudden out of nowhere, I just got so frustrated. Keisha, thank you for the $5. Yeah, out of nowhere, I got so frustrated and I was like, why am I angry right now? Just, and I had to like stop taking notes and I went to like just lay down and like meditate for like 20 minutes. Made me feel so much better. But yeah, get some moonstone. Actually, moonstone and smoky quartz might be really good for this full moon for everybody. Let's see. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Your energy's so positive. Oh, thank you, Nancy. Uh, oh, it's going fast. So guys, I'm also on my phone for those who are like kind of new to my channel. I used to do these lives on my desktop, but I've had issues getting a desktop ever since, and the other one kind of like was too old and couldn't function anymore. So I can only see like 3 messages at a time. And I'm blind, and you guys are kind of far. So if I miss your message, I'm sorry, or if I can't read it because it's too far, I apologize. Yeah, I made it. I could see that. Cancer sending Pisces moon. I'm in it right now. Yeah, and like I've been saying for the longest time in my videos, that this full moon is going to be aspecting the Neptune. The Neptune is going to be aspecting Neptune in a really big way, and it's like shit. Like all of this Piscean energy is kind of like a big enhancer for the Scorpionic full moon energy. So it's going to be interesting. Let's see. Mystic Rose full. Oh, okay. First live. All right. That's cool. Uh, I cannot read your username. Thank you for the 2222. Thank you for being our ray of sunshine. Aw, you're welcome. I don't think of myself like that, but yeah, that's cool. I'll take that. That's quite a compliment. Been looking forward to this. Okay, good. All right, so we're a few minutes in. We've got like a few hundred in the chat. I know. Okay, actually, I do want to say this before I continue because people have told me that haven't been getting their notifications. YouTube is funky. YouTube is glitchy. Oh no! Don't tell me the video is already like buffering. Is it? I don't think so. I think we're okay. So just check your notification settings because sometimes it changes either because YouTube changed it or you accidentally changed it without realizing it. So just check your notifications. Also, people have been telling me that they've been unsubscribed to my channel, and I was wondering that too because it's like, I mean, when people subscribe, I get notified. So it's like I see how many people subscribe every day, and I've also seen like my number, like the way my number changes versus how many people subscribe hasn't been making sense to me. And people have been telling me that they've been unsubscribed when they didn't mean to unsubscribe. So check that. Check that if you haven't checked that. And it does happen. YouTube does do that. They have weird policies about that. Hold on. Where did it go? Come back, chat. Come back. Hello. Okay, there we go. We're good. We're good. Oh, Hannah, thank you for the $9.99. Excited for you to teach me. Question. I'm ascending and I've had a lot of new abilities start to come on lately, but it's a little startling, scary. Any tips for us newbies? Just surrender to it. I know it can be scary. I know some things can be very like upsetting and startling. The more you get into fear, like you're actually going to start like making your ascension hard. Oh, my crown's tingling as I'm talking about this. You're going to start making your ascension really hard. Or you're just going to start to slow down the process or stop it entirely. You could shut off abilities because you feed into fear. So you have to really just surrender to it and embrace it and know that no matter what happens, you're safe. You know what I mean? In your ascension process, like if you're dealing with your guides and stuff, if they start showing themselves to you, it can be startling at first, but it's really good that they're doing that. You know what I mean? So just try to embrace it and just know that you're safe and protected, especially if you're powerful, right? Like you are safe. Nothing's going to get you. Okay. All right, so 5 minutes in, let's go ahead and get started. So like I said in the beginning, for those who just are coming in, I have a lot of notes and my throat chakra is not happy and I'm very out of it right now. So I'm gonna try to do my best to go slow and go over all of this. So forgive me if I have to pause because I have a feeling I'm gonna lose my place. I can't see these usernames. Rienda, thank you for the 100. I don't know what currency that is. Thank you. Misty Roden, I have Capricorn 12 house stellium. Gemini moon, Aquarius rising. What do you think about this? I just think it's your time, honestly. I think it's your time and it's probably going to be challenging and you're probably going to do a lot of personal growth, doing a lot of focusing on that for yourself. And it's going to be hard, especially with Saturn being in your first house, essentially. But it just means if you're disciplined about it, it's going to pay off. But if you're not disciplined about it, it's probably going to beat you like down quite a bit. So just be disciplined with yourself and it's really going to pay off for you, is what I would say about that. I can't read the username. Kay, thank you. Thanks for the 222 North Node Sag. Any advice during this time? So actually, when it comes to like the North Node, South Node switch, because I do want to get to this, guys, and we're already like 6 minutes in. I already posted on BOMISpirit Instagram about the series I'm coming up for the North and South Node switch for Gemini and Sag placements, okay? So that's going to be upcoming, so just keep your eyes out for that. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, go check out BOMISpirit Instagram, okay? All right, now let's get started. So for those who are new, when I get into this, I get really focused. So if you send me a super chat, I will most likely miss it. I apologize in advance and I thank you in advance for those who will be sending that. I just want to be focused on what I'm doing. At the end, for those who are new, we usually have like a little chit chat hangout session. So you can always just wait till the end if you have like questions and things like that. Also, I do not take money for forecasted questions. This is more like a hangout discussion of like moon placements and aspects and stuff like that. And that's what I want to keep this focused on. Okay. All right, now let's get started. So this full moon in Scorpio is a supermoon. It's actually the third consecutive supermoon, which means it's the third one in a row that we've had. Now in June and July, we have 3 eclipses back to back. So we're really revving up this energy of shifting and change. We're gonna see a lot of that happen in June and July. And I'm gonna talk about more about July and what else is to come for the rest of 2020 as we go towards the end. But just wanted to say that little tidbit before we get started. Now, this is a supermoon, which means that the moon is close in orbit with the Earth. It's closer than it normally is. So the effects of this moon are going to be amplified. So like the emotional component, our intuition is going to be amplified. The aspects are going to have a stronger impact because of that as well. So just something to note. Also, we have a lot of fixed energy. We have like 6 placements in fixed signs in Taurus and Aquarius, and then of course including the moon in Scorpio. So there is going to be a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? There is going to be issues of not being able to like slow down your mind. Like there's going to be a lot of like chewing on something for too long. That's how I'm going to say it. And you're also going to see why that's going to play into relationships a lot. And how we basically go about this period of time with trying to make sense of things, okay? So just know that there's going to be this energy and like propensity to get an idea or think about something or someone or what you want to do, and you won't like be able to put it away. Like you're just going to want to chew on it till there's nothing left, okay? So just wanted to say that. All right, so let's get into this. So as far as intentions with the full moon, the full moon in Scorpio is happening on May 7th at 3:45 a.m. Pacific at about 17 degrees. So as I always say, check your houses for where Scorpio 17 degrees falls. And that's where you're really going to feel the impacts of this full moon. And not just that, but also where you should be setting your intention. Now, full moons are about closures, right? We want to close things out. We want to break away from stuff. We want to put stuff away. We want to be done with things. We also want clarity on things. So whatever you want to like wrap up, make sure that it's in line with the house that it's falling in for you. So for example, and there's just an example, because I know I get new people all the time asking me like, what house does it fall in? So for example, if your 5th house starts at Libra, I don't know, 28 degrees, and your 6th house starts at like Scorpio 27, then it falls in your 5th house because it's acting as a range, right? So that means it's the house of dating and projects and creation and attention, spotlight, all of that. So gear your intentions towards that, which could be like wrapping up your suitors. If you have multiple suitors, or if you have a project that hasn't really got going, or you're really over working on a project, then wrap it up. right? So set your intentions accordingly. Now, this full moon, like I said, is aspecting Neptune. And there's a lot of aspects happening with Neptune in this full moon. It's not just the moon aspecting it. There's also Mercury, and I believe Venus is aspecting it as well. Okay, so that's taking Piscean intuitive energy and throwing it on top of a supermoon, which is already going to be enhanced intuition and emotions. On top of that, it's also a Scorpionic full moon, enhancing intuition and emotions. So it's really going to be like a trifecta of emotional, intuitive, psychic energy. Okay, so just strap yourself in. It is going to be a positive one. It is going to be positive, so don't worry about that. I would say like the only other moon that's going to be stronger than this one is the Cancer eclipse that's coming up in summer. I think that's the only other one that's going to be like stronger than this one or as strong, just with all this water energy going on. Let's see. Now, Scorpio. Scorpio is a sign of secrets. It's the sign of secrets, sex, focus, karmic justice, what else? Transformation, hidden knowledge, all of that. So all of that's going to be highlighted at this time. All of that are going to be major themes of what's going on. And like I said, I'm gonna get further into that, but just also know that carrying your intention, that it should be geared towards that. On a financial front, because I know there's a lot of financial stuff going on, Scorpio is more like the sign of other finances, like not your finances. So like taxes are a big one. And like, we've had the extension for taxes, right? So if you're having trouble getting money for taxes, or you want to be done with your taxes, you might want to set your intention accordingly if it's in like your second house or your 10th house or your 4th house or even the 8th house, because it is just the house of Scorpio, right? So just to really put that out there. All right, so what can we expect with this full moon? So we're going to see major reveals. That's going to be a really huge theme. We're going to see major reveals through psychic intuition, or people just telling on themselves. Or people just getting caught red-handed, of corrupted events, underhanded events, hidden feelings, a lot of hidden feelings. A lot of hidden feelings and desires are really what's going to be revealed around this time, because we have so much emotion at play. And what does Scorpio do? It digs shit up. And Pluto's retrograde in Capricorn, which is digging shit up. So we're going to see this in our individual lives, but also we're going to see this play out in the collective as well on the societal front with the continued collapse of everything that's going on. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Sorry. Do you see how out of it I am? I have to go to my notes a lot for this one. Sorry, guys. We also have a lot of spiritual growth and transformations that are being catalyzed or enhanced. So if you're in the midst of an ascension, because we already had someone ask about that, it's going to feel even more intense. We're also going to have enhanced physical sensations. I'm going to get into why later on. Everything's going to be enhanced. Just think of it that way. All of your senses, your psychic senses, your emotions, your physical sensations are going to be super enhanced at this time. So if you're going through an awakening or an ascension, prepare for that enhancement in that arena as well. But we are also going to see people kind of launched into more awakenings and ascension processes. So this has kind of been a theme that's been carried over from moon phase to moon phase to moon phase, of there's always some aspects going on that are really emphasizing awakening and higher consciousness. So that hasn't stopped, and this is really a peaking of that as well. All right. All right. Overall, like I said, this is going to be a very positive full moon. We do have negative aspects going on, or aspects that can be difficult or struggle, but the aspects that lean towards really positive events or energy are a lot stronger in their placements than the ones that are a little more difficult. So just that basis alone, it should be very positive. Okay. Now, for those who are new, I always have little sections that I label to organize the information I want to give you guys. Let's see. I can't wait to lay eyes on the supermoon. Yeah, it should be really pretty too. I mean, supermoons are huge. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous. If you have access to going outside, which we all should be able to just step outside our front door and go look at the moon. Anyway, so this first section I'm calling knowledge versus belief. So this is kind of an interesting energy that's at play, because it's not just an energy we're going to have during this full moon. We're going to have this energy with the nodes switching into Gemini and Sag, which they did today as I'm recording. Gemini versus Sagittarius. That's like the epitome of knowledge and facts versus faith and belief and spirituality, right? So this first aspect that I'm going to be talking about in this realm is Venus in Gemini. Oh, my throat's already going. Venus in Gemini square Neptune in Pisces. Okay, so Neptune in Pisces will cloud the knowing of Venus in Gemini, and that will affect shared communication and knowledge. So people are going to be talking to you, or information is going to be coming out about what's going on or people in general, and you're not really going to believe it. You're going to have a major conflict start to happen because your intuition is telling you a lot. Because remember, that's like one of the biggest themes we have going on right now. Your intuition is going to be telling you one thing, and people are going to be telling you another. People are going to be saying another. Like, they're not going to be, no one, not like almost nobody says what they really feel and what they really think, right? There's always some masking going on, or even sometimes people are so disconnected from themselves, they don't really understand what they think or what they really feel. So your intuition is going to say they're lying, they're lying, they're wrong, they're wrong, they're wrong. It's not the truth. So we're going to have this weird conflict with people, and maybe even within ourselves, right? Of like, I was told this. This is what the government says. This is what I've known to be true. But everything in my being and everything my soul is telling me is completely the opposite. So don't let that slow you down, because psychic intuition is so enhanced. That's going to be key to this full moon. That's going to be key to getting through most of these aspects that are kind of difficult, because your intuition is telling you everything you need to know, like everything. And this is definitely a case of like, seeing is not always believing, right? There's so many things in this world. And even if you look at like history, right, that we've thought to be true until they were proven otherwise. Right? Even if someone's intuition was like, that's the common belief, so I just have to take it as that, instead of like kind of knowing that that's not completely accurate. So there's gonna be a big theme of like, oh, we can't really rely on our eyes anymore. We can't rely on what we see. We can't rely on what we've known so far. We have to rely on our intuition, because that's really where the reality is, right? And even then, reality is just a reflection of our internal being anyway, as a consciousness. So that's going to be interesting as it plays into spiritual awakenings and ascensions, and as we move further into unity consciousness, for those who will ascend to even be able to do that and be a part of the unity consciousness. So yeah, like I said, don't let it get you bogged down. It's as long as you're relying on your intuition, you're going to be fine with that. Let's see here. All right, so this next aspect, by the way, I can feel people wondering about the degrees. I can feel it. I can't see it because I'm so blind, but I can feel it. I'm going to talk about the degrees at the end. I'll talk about the degrees at the end, because not everybody likes to hear about that. So now we have the moon opposing, that's the word, opposing Mercury in Taurus, which is, we go to figure like the sun opposing the moon, which is what makes a full moon anyway, and Mercury's in Taurus, so that makes sense. This is actually going to create more conflict with our physical reality versus our higher consciousness. So it just plays on more of that same energy and more of that, right? Like, I see this, I feel this, my eyeballs are telling me one thing, but I feel another. I know another. So again, more of that conflict, but a lot of the psychic intuition is just going to help you further with that, with really understanding what the reality actually is. Now, if you're really struggling with this, damn it. Oh, we just got started too. Hold on. Pretty sure my tea's still too hot. Now, as you struggle with this, anxiety will increase, confusion will increase, and there's going to be like extreme thinking. We're going to see a lot of like falling into polarity, which will also be enhanced when Venus goes retrograde on the 13th, which I'll briefly talk about at the end. Oh, excuse me. Okay, I'm good. So falling into this polarity, we're going to see some extreme thinking or extreme thoughts, because people will be confused because their higher self's telling them the truth, but they're not seeing it. They don't see it in their reality yet. And so just to like make things fit and to have peace of mind, they're going to fall into polarity, which is actually going to work against them. So to make sure that doesn't happen with you, again, just really rely on your intuition. Okay. Before we continue, I need a drink tea. I really hope it's not too hot. I'm pretty sure it is hot, but let me see. Oh, no, it's like burning my hand as I'm grabbing it. Nope. Actually, do I have space? Hold on. I'm gonna pour some room temperature water in there. Yeah, there's like no space for that. Well, it should sit on top, right? Mm-hmm. Thank you, density. Yeah, I was like, if it's cooler, then it probably will stay on top, like because of density. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so let's continue. So then we have this social desire that's going to be coming on. This is the next section. This is actually, I think, going to be really nice. This is going to be the really nice silver lining to this full moon. I think it will help bring people a lot of comfort if they really, again, if they surrender. Like if there's no resistance and you really fall and embrace into your intuition in your higher consciousness and any kind of ascension or awakening that you're going through, if you really embrace it, these aspects will feel really nice. Okay, so this first one, it's actually an aspect that I already talked about, but this part really relates to like social desire and relationships. So Venus and Gemini square Neptune and Pisces. There's actually going to bring on cravings of like social interaction. We're going to want to interact with people, to flirt with people. We're also going to start feeling more of a desire for love, like to be loved and to be nurtured. You know, we've been on lockdown for a while, right? So some people who've like been alone, you might feel like, wow, I haven't been touched in a long time. I haven't been hugged in a long time. I haven't like flirted with anybody in a long time. You know what I mean? And we're still going to have a little bit of lockdown, as you know, some places will open up, some places are closing up. Just depends on where you are. But the places that are opening up, like if that's happening, like where you're at in the midst of this in the next 2 weeks, like you're going to see a lot of people like just wanting to like be with each other in a very physical, emotional way because of this full moon. And you might be one of those people. Now, if you're closed up, like if your place is locked up, then you're probably going to be doing this digitally or like FaceTime and video chats and things like that, right? But definitely intense cravings of like love, physicality, physical touch, emotion, like that emotional support need is going to be skyrocketing during this time because of full moon Scorpio, aspecting Neptune and all that stuff. And then of course, this is square Venus, which is about relationships, right? And the things that make us feel good. Now, oh yeah, interesting. I forgot about that. So our vices are also going to be a little agitated, like our want to indulge and to, again, to feel good, because that's what Venus is. Venus is also intoxication. Those are the like food and sex and music and I don't know, money. I'm like the things that make us really happy. Like, and sometimes it can lean towards devilish energy if it gets out of control, but we're going to be craving that a lot more because our physical body is going to be like heightened in our sensations, right? So just keep that in mind. Yeah, I wrote, people will crave each other. So this is just mind over matter. Like if you feel like you're getting a little out of control, like if you have Gemini or Pisces in your eighth house, I would just try to remember mind over matter. Mind over matter. You will survive without these things. You will survive. You will be okay. Thank you for the super chat. I know there are a lot of other ones that came through. Sorry, I just don't like to get distracted and get off my schedule. But thank you. Thank you. Let's see. All right, so this next aspect for social desire, we have Mercury and Taurus, sextile Neptune and Pisces. So again, we have this Neptune aspect, another Neptune aspect coming up here. This one's actually really strong. This is the strongest aspect that's happening during this full moon. So if you're going to feel any of them, you're going to really feel this one. This is actually an exact sextile. Sextiles bring opportunities. It's usually a very positive aspect. So we're going to have a lot more opportunities to show compassion, to be compassionate towards people, to be supportive. This is also the one that's really heightening our physical sensations, even our psychic sensations. We're going to be very sensitive to physical touch more so than we normally are. This is going to enhance the energy in a soul connection as well. So like if you already have a soulmate in your life that you feel things for or with, that connection is going to be enhanced. Like the telepathy is going to be increased. You can astral to each other a lot easier. You're just going to know something's going on with them. Like you're just going to feel them in a way you haven't really felt them before. There's also going to be, oh yeah, that's right, because Neptune is dreams. Enhanced social and sexual interactions in the dream space as well in higher dimensions. So also be prepared for that. Enjoy it. Enjoy it for those who will be experiencing that. People will want to share and confess and ask others for support and love as well. Now, this one is kind of leading to some tricky stuff because people want to share because they want that closeness, they want the intimacy, they want to feel loved, they want to feel it, they want to share it, and they want to feel it. Especially those who've mastered self-love, you're really going to be more in that group of being able to share versus someone who like hasn't accomplished that yet, because someone who doesn't have that self-love yet kind of would lean towards codependency, right? But if you have that self-love online, you can have a very interdependent, very loving, healthy connection with somebody. By the way, if you do meet anybody under this full moon, which some of you definitely will, especially those who like lockdown or like you're freed up, it's actually, they're going to be very intense connections. They're going to be very soulful, deep kind of connections if you meet anybody during this time or start a relationship with anybody during this time. So just something else to note. So yeah, back to this tricky part of this aspect. So people want to share and confess and give and can you love me? I'll love you, like all of that. People will start to tell on themselves. People are going to reveal their hidden feelings, their hidden thoughts. They might even confess to things that they've done that have been like not kosher to you, right? Like things that they probably shouldn't have been doing. So you might get a lot of accidental confessions and maybe even intentional ones because like people just want that like that love and honesty. Pisces can be a very honest sign because it's a very optimistic sign. So just keep that in mind. And with the full moon in general, there's already reveals going on. So it can be really positive stuff coming to light or stuff that's like, oh, you betrayed me. And then you might fall into the mistrust that Scorpio brings. So that one's kind of a tricky one. So if you're feeling the need to go talk to people, because we also have Venus in Gemini, which is like talking to like a lot of communication, right? Just be very careful in what you say because no matter what, everyone's going to know the truth. Because we have all this intuition right now. Everybody's going to know the truth behind people's words right now. So if you're going to go talk to somebody, just make sure you're going to be honest. And if you did some dirty shit, try to be really gentle in how you say it. Okay. And don't try not to say it because they're going to know, right? Especially if like they already have abilities, they're going to know. Anyway, so just had to say that. And yeah, and then brings about more sympathy and understanding as well. So if you are going to tell on yourself, it's probably the best time to, but if it's like really big stuff, someone could lean into that shadow Scorpio and like cut you off really quick, right? So moving on, the overall enhancer aspect, that's what I'm calling this one. And this one, it's going to sound repetitive of the things I've already said. Like everything I've already addressed is just being enhanced by this other aspect here. So this is like a full moon that's overly enhanced. Just think of it that way. So we have the full moon Scorpio trine Neptune and Pisces. So this is emphasizing intense feelings, emotions of love, compassion, optimism, psychic abilities, intuition, which is the key to getting through this full moon and really deciphering and really moving away from polarity, right? Just leaning into your intuition and higher consciousness. Opportunities to receive psychic information about people in your life that you have intense emotions for may reveal positive things or negative things and lead to the deepening of relationships or mistrust in them. Okay, so again, just more of that enhancing of the things I've already mentioned. Now, we have getting creative. This is kind of nice. This one's another nice one. Hold on a second. I can't even listen right now. Okay. If you can't listen, you can't listen. That's fine. Let's see. So who thinks Aquarius and Scorpio is a cool match? That's a dangerous match. I might talk about that at the end. Try to remind me because I'm going to forget. Anyway, because I want to get back to this. Okay. So getting creative. So we have two aspects that are bringing this in. So we have the Sun in Taurus, which is also conjunct with Mercury in Taurus. And then we have Neptune and Pisces, sextile Mercury in Taurus, the one I actually just went over. So because we have Taurian and Piscean energy working together, enhancing each other and supporting each other, it's bringing in a lot of this need to create. Like, oh, I have all these ideas. I want to bring them into reality. And that's what Taurus does, right? Taurus is really good at taking an idea and bringing it into your 3D reality. So any ideas or creative endeavors that you're really feeling right now, especially with that Neptune, Piscean, like, big dream sort of creative ideas, really try. You can really make some cool shit happen right now with these aspects, okay? Also, because it's a Taurian energy, it's also a really good time for new income streams, okay, for the next 2 weeks, if you're really needing that. And some people really are, because some people have lost their jobs or they're needing to supplement their income. So if you have an idea for a new stream of income, or you're really wanting to get an idea for a new stream of income, sit down and think about it. Sit down and give it a try, because it's probably going to pay off for you at this time. Let's see. Like, why can't I see? I started journaling. It's been so refreshing. Okay, good. Hold up a cave of wonders. Writing like a mad woman. Good. Get creative, guys. All right. So this next section, I felt obligated to put it in here because I know I get new people all the time, but it's basically just talking about the continued collapse. of what we've been experiencing from an astrological point of view. So if you've been with me for a while, this section might sound a little repetitive. And then after this, I'm going to get into dates for the next couple weeks. And it's pretty much just going to be the retrogrades that I'm talking about and some shifts that are happening. And then I'll talk about the degrees as people have requested before. Okay. So we have Jupiter and conjunct Pluto. This aspect is going to be there for the rest of 2020. All right. So the rest of 2020, Jupiter is going to be conjunct with Pluto. We have days where they're going to be exact. April 4th was a day where it was exact already. And then June 30th and November 12th, they're also going to be exact. Now, a lot of this is enhancing the collapse, right? But at the same time, it's also an aspect that can be utilized for manifestation, to manifest abundance. If you can flow with the changes, if you can flow with the loss that may be coming up, right? So as long as you can flow with that and you can embrace that and adapt to that, you can really use this energy to manifest abundance in your life or abundance for other people, okay? But as far as like the collapse is concerned, we're going to see more of dismantling of governments, patriarchal rules, that sort of nature. While they start also freaking out, we're going to see little spurts of like trying to exert more control because they're losing control. And also with Uranus and Taurus, we're going to see a lot of that economically speaking. Now, something else that's kind of interesting, as the collapse continues and there's this weird struggle for power and struggle for like money and wealth and things like that, the burden is going to start falling on the people most likely. All right, the financial burden of it. So we might see higher taxes, we might see more pay cuts, higher cost of living, things like that. So also keep that in mind. If you really want to develop those new streams of income, definitely try right now before things get really crazy. Then I want to talk about Saturn in relation to this. So Saturn is in Aquarius right now. In July, back up. Saturn goes retrograde on the 11th of May. So not too many days away. It goes retrograde. Then in July, it hits that last degree of Capricorn, that last critical degree of Capricorn on July 1st. I think it's going to stay there for like 10 days or so. The last time it did that was March, when all this lockdown stuff got crazy, when all this lockdown stuff started happening and fear was really high, panic was really high, feeling like we were powerless was really high. We're going to have a little echo of that energy come July. Now, July 1st to be specific. Now, we also have eclipses going on in June and July. So that's going to create a lot of change, a lot of volatility as well. So that's really going to be like the second phase of what I've been calling the reset. People have been calling it the awakening, and it is an awakening. I've just been calling it the reset. And then in September, Saturn goes direct. And then it's not until like December 15th, around December 15th, that Saturn hits that last degree of Capricorn again, before it moves into Aquarius, where it will sit for 2021. Now, again, we're going to have another echo in December, like mid-December, of this like intense lack of control, feeling powerless, feeling like we're at the mercy of institutions and whatever that they want to do and any power they exert, okay? So again, it's just periods of time, but I'm just saying echo because it can just be a little bit like a reflective period of where we were and how to counteract that. It could be that, or we're going to see more exertions of restraint on the community. Now, for this lockdown period, Saturn's been in Aquarius after it moved out of that last degree of Capricorn, right? And now that it's going to go retrograde, it will move into Capricorn in July, like we said. And as we're going to this retrograde period, lockdowns are starting to cease, right? Like there are people that are having more freedom. Some places are opening up a little bit more. Now, this little time period of lockdown energy and that kind of restraint is a little glimpse of what 2021 is going to be like energetically. For most of 2021, I think with the exception of like the first week or so in January, right? Like the first few days of January, I could be mistaken. Anyway, no, I'm pretty sure it's all of 2021 that Saturn will be in Aquarius. So while Saturn's in Aquarius, we're still going to have Uranus and Taurus. We're still going to have Pluto and Capricorn, all these energies that are really enhancing what we've been going through. That is going to be the energy of 2021, this energy of restraint and restriction. And could it be more lockdowns? It could. It could be. I really think it's just going to feel restriction. We could have different restrictions. It could look very different than just a lockdown situation, but that's what 2021 is going to feel like. And I've always kind of thought that 2021 is going to be a really intense year of like major change because it's going to be needed. And it kind of makes sense, right? It's like, so 2020, all this stuff is like, all the change is starting. And we're kind of in a weird, like, We're kind of in a weird time of we're ascending, but at the same time, there's no real gauge of how these things are going to fall in some kind of stability sense, right? 2021, it's an energy of 5, the pivot, the transformation. So we're going to have even more restriction, long-term restriction. It's going to become almost like a norm. And I think people are just going to have to like fight that or like not get used to it, right? Because no one wants to live like that. We're not supposed to live like that. So 2021, I think, is going to be a rough year in the term of like intensity, but I also think it's going to really catalyze a lot of permanent change towards the new paradigm. And I talked about this in the last new moon, in the last new moon video I did, where I talked about some of the aspects that are happening for the next 10 years or so. So this intense lockdown stuff is going to be happening in 2021. It will start to peter out towards 2023, where we're going to have continued dismantling and continued collapse. That's going to be going on for the next like couple years, like 3 years or so, give or take. And then we'll start to see the new paradigm really come online. But 2021, I really think is going to be intense. It's going to feel rough. And I really think it's going to be kind of like sink or swim. People think that that's what it is now. People think right now is sink or swim. No. No, shit's just getting started. Puzzle pieces are just getting in line. Chess pieces is really what I should say. Chess pieces are really just getting set up right now. That's what's happening right now. Chess pieces are getting set. The game is getting set for what the next 10 years are going to be like, and what the major shift in the mid-2020s is really going to be about as far as bringing on the new paradigm, right? So it's like, if you don't have like your puzzle pieces up individually, you might want to. This is like the year to do it. This is the year to do it, because come 2021, pieces will be in place, and it's going to be game time as far as like actual big collective shift to a new cementing paradigm will be concerned. Anyway, now I'm talking like Yoda, so I should move on. All right, so I talked about Saturn. All right, so now we have dates. Like I said, these dates are mostly just about the retrogrades, but we have a couple other things going on. So on the 11th, we have, like I said, Saturn is going to retrograde. On the same day, Mercury goes home into Gemini. So this is going to be kind of interesting too, because it adds a heavier desire for socializing and for truth and for knowledge, right? So remember to stay rooted in your faith and your intuition as to what is being told to you by media or even by other people. And the system may also be, you might also see like the reveal of what has ever been said or what is continued to be said to us as completely inaccurate and maybe even intentionally false. Okay. All the more reason to fall on your faith, all the more reason to fall on your intuition. This is also going to enhance the North Node energy, because as of today, the North Node moved into Gemini. So this is only going to enhance that. So we're also going to want to spread knowledge that really helps people and doesn't manipulate and doesn't hinder. So that's really positive. And of course, Mercury doesn't stay in a sign for too long, right? But that's a really positive energy going on there. We're also going to struggle with polarity versus unity consciousness. So again, just remember your intuition, because it is going to be confusing. So the more you try to rely on facts, the more you try to rely on what you see versus what you know in your core and in your being, the more confused you're going to be, and the more likely you're going to fall and regress back into polarity. So just stay rooted in your intuition. We have so much energy emphasizing intuition anyway, it shouldn't be too hard to do for these next couple weeks. And then we have on May 13th, we have Venus retrograding. So again, Venus retrograding is going to bring in more difficulty with staying away from polarity, because Venus is retrograding in Gemini. What's the shadow of Gemini? It's the twins. It's quite literally polarity, right? We're also going to see, of course, resurrections of relationships past and all of that. We're going to see past we're going to see past relationships come up for us emotionally and maybe physically. Not all of our relationships are going to come back to haunt us in a physical way. For some of us, that's going to happen, but it's really just to get resolution. That's all it is. Retrogrades are to grow. It's just to grow. It's just to get some insight, close out some cycles. That's all retrogrades are for. So as that happens, these are most likely not going to be, I can't believe I broke up with you 3 years ago, I want to be with you again. It's most likely not going to be that. It's most likely going to be, hey, maybe a little flirting, and like, I regret doing this to you. Thank you. Like, it's mostly going to be that. Let's see. Current relationships. That's also interesting. So with Venus retrograding in Gemini, there's also going to be a lot of reflection on your current relationships. because we have all this energy pushing us towards authenticity, towards knowledge, unity consciousness, things that are really high vibe, higher dimensional, right? Versus just what we've known, versus polarity. So if you're in relationships that are not very authentic or not very high vibe, it's also going to be very highlighted to you. You're going to realize that you're really kind of over relationships in your life. For some of you, not all of you, those that fall in that category, of course. It's kind of like a test of relationships, right? It's like a little bit of like a cleanup. Like you're examining your relationships current, and anything that comes back to you from the past, you're going to get closure. You're going to close out what doesn't serve you, whether it's a past relationship and you're hung up on that person or whatever, or it's a current relationship and it's not serving you anymore, right? So we're also going to see some breakups. We're going to see some breakups going on there, okay? Now on that same day, on May 13th, Mars also moves into Pisces. So this is also kind of interesting. We have all these retrogrades going on in May. So at the end of May, we're going to have 4 planets that are retrograde. We're going to have Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus. And then by the end of summer, we're also going to have Neptune and Uranus retrograding. Like Mars is going to be the last one standing. And of course, Mercury is going to have its normal Mercury retrograde period. But yeah, Mars is going to be direct for quite some time until fall, I believe is when it retrogrades. And Mars is going to be in Pisces, and then it's going to go home in Aries, right? So, oh, geez, look at my hair. So Mars is going to have this very dominating energy for the rest of the summer and into fall. But Mars in Pisces leans towards compassion. It leans towards not wanting to fight, not wanting to have conflict. It leans towards having compassion for others. And the motives behind what we do are going to be more in the Piscean realm. Our motives are going to be more spiritual. The things that we want, the things we want to do and get done are going to come from a spiritual motive, from a motive of love, from a motive of what can I really have in my life where I can give to others and they can give back to me in return, like nurturing relationships. So again, also enhancing the need to get away from any relationship that doesn't fall in that category. So yeah, again, all good stuff. And then on the 14th, the very next day, we have Jupiter retrograding in Capricorn. So again, this is really enhancing more of the collapse energy, but it's also a time, remember, it's a retrograde, right? Retrogrades are introspective and reflective, and it's a time to grow. And that's what this is. With Jupiter and Capricorn, as it relates to the Capricorn energy of like the collapse and whatnot, it's really about your preparedness. Your preparedness, your spirituality. Are you really ready for the changes to come? What do you really want out of the changes to come? Can you be disciplined with yourself and letting go of the things that will no longer be and really embrace the things that need to be? And what does it look like for you? What do you want? What do you want the new world to be like? What do you want the new paradigm to be like? We're all going to still be here, right? But it's going to look very different. And depending on where you are, it could also be very different. You know, location is a big thing that I've talked about in relation to this collapse, because everything's going to become more local, right? Like Gemini versus like Sag. Sag is travel and distance and everything that we've kind of known this world to be, right? Very distant. And Gemini leans towards community and closeness and social closeness, right? And relationships and that sort of thing. So that's really going to be enhanced. So more of our reality is going to be leaning towards that versus distance. So in this new way of being, what do you personally want it to look like? What do you want to bring to the table and bring into your reality? Jupiter retrograde period is going to be really crucial for that, because it also goes hand in hand with Saturn. Jupiter always works with Saturn. Jupiter helps to bless those that have gone through Saturn's trials and tribulations, right? So as long as you can really work with this period and be disciplined with yourself and know what you want and figure it out, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You might find a lot of you might even slow down your projects, might even slow down the big things you've been working on for the next couple months, which when you have a lot of retrogrades, probably a good idea to do that anyway, because it's a time to really make sure that you're doing what it is you want and that you're not fluffing anything up. You know what I mean? So anyway, so that's just my little spiel on Jupiter retrograde. So yeah, that is everything. That is everything for this full moon. I know, like I said, it was a lot. It's definitely a lot. Let's see. My birthday is May the 11th. Happy birthday. Happy early birthday. Oh, by the way, Taurians, I did the Taurus birthday reading. It was uploading, so I haven't posted it yet, but it's uploaded. I just have to make it public. So I'll make it public after this. Hey, I'm late. Oh, You just missed everything. I just finished it. Let's see. Thanks for oh yeah, thank you guys so much for the super chats. I'm sorry, like I had to stay focused. Like I don't look at them when I'm like in the flow because I feel like I'm gonna forget where I am, and I definitely forgot a couple places. Let's see. Late too. Sorry guys. You can always go back and watch. Just picked up 2 years and it feels love hearing this. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Have you ever heard of mud shapers? No, I have not. I don't know what that is. Hopefully my headache goes away soon. I get more energy. You know, that's something else that's been happening. Like Schumann's resonance has been spiking up and down, up and down, up and down, crazy for a while. And it really affects me physically. Like it really affects me physically. So that could also be part of it. Like it just knocks me out. Like I seriously have to like lay down when Schumann's resonance is really high. Thank you for your guidance and info. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Oh, thanks for the $9.99. Been feeling possessed by a higher being when I get high. I want to foster this connection without relying on marijuana. So I can't read your username because it's like too far away. So, oh gosh, there's a lot I have to say about that. Yancy, thanks for the 189. Dominican Republic, it's spirituality. There's a lot I have to say about that. So I actually did a BOMISpirit episode on this, on psychedelics and THC, CBD, all of that, and how it affects spirituality, or how it can be used, or how it shouldn't be used in spirituality. I'll be honest with you. So when it comes to marijuana, for those who are not a patron, who haven't seen that episode, I think it can get you to a certain frequency, but if you've ascended past that frequency, it doesn't serve a purpose in your spirituality. That's just my opinion on it. And as a collective, I think collectively we've surpassed that, because THC, it actually interacts with a lot of different systems. Damn it. Hold on a second. It interacts with a lot of different systems. It interacts with serotonin, which is also what psychedelics interact with. Psychedelics are more isolated to that, like shrooms and DMT are isolated to that, like serotonin receptors. But THC hits a lot of other systems of yours that, to be honest with you, and it's just my opinion, that are not exactly beneficial, not just for spirituality, but also in regarding your health. Now, THC and CBD do affect some of the similar receptors, but CBD doesn't affect all of the receptors that THC does. If I had all them listed in front of me, I would get more into it. But CBD really has a much more like relief effect, right? Much more of a relief effect, where obviously you don't get high either, but it also helps with anxiety and inflammation. While THC does do that, it affects other receptors that can get wonky over time. Okay. Now, when it comes to spirituality, like I said, I feel like because it reacts with the same serotonin receptor as DMT and shrooms do, and to some level acid, but that's a whole other conversation. While it reacts with those same receptors, it's not just those receptors, and it's not enough to really act as spiritual medicine, in my opinion. CBD is a great medicine, right, for various things, but when you throw THC in the mix, it can get a little funky. So if you're ascended beyond that frequency, there's no use for it spiritually. That's my opinion. You don't have to take it as fact, but that is my opinion. So I would recommend that if you want to work on your spirituality without marijuana, because that is what you stated, then I would suggest to just stop and just see how it goes. Because to be honest with you, because it's affecting other receptors that can affect you long term, you might not ascend as high as you need to in order to actually gain that connection in an organic way. Now, as far as the feeling of being possessed, gosh, how do I say this? How do I phrase this? I guess the word bothers me. If I'm being totally honest with you, the word bothers me. And maybe there's a better word for it for what you're experiencing. The word bothers me. the word bothers me because I feel like you can get messages with entities, with higher dimensional beings without having that feeling. And maybe you're just really tuned into them. Like maybe that's what it is, right? I guess the word is bothering me because it has such a connotation to it, right? And as I say, now see, here I go getting over analytical. Because it has such a connotation to it that I feel like even if someone uses it and they're not really having that that violation of your vessel, I think people will use it even when that's not actually happening, right? So like I said, the word bothers me. Maybe there's a better word for it. But as far as like your spirituality is concerned and wanting to connect to higher dimensional beings, there are many ways to do that without marijuana in an organic way, in a much more powerful way, Let's see. This weekend, did you hear about, oh, I think I missed some other super chats. I'm sorry, guys. Journey, $5. Hey, love you. I have a Capricorn North Node, 27 degrees, and I want to know how the shift could affect the aspect of me. Well, we're shifting out of South Node Capricorn. The shift took place today. We're shifting out of South Node Capricorn. So if you're North Node's Capricorn, you probably have been feeling more like the last 18 months have been more of like a full moon period where it's been more like reflective. It's probably felt very emotional for you in some aspect. Like it's probably felt more like that. So you're really kind of just leaving a intense full moon period, so to speak, if your North Node was in Capricorn as we were exiting the South Node Capricorn, right? Because North Node Capricorn, it's like it's where you want to go. It's what you need to develop as far as your skill set is concerned. But the collective's been leaving that, right? The collective is moving away from that, the skill set that you need to attain. So in a lot of ways, you're seeing the shadow, right? You've been seeing the shadow of that in the collective of the things you need to learn. So in that way, it's like you are reflecting, right? Just if you're looking at the collective, you're reflecting on your own skill set, but what you shouldn't be doing, like the shadow of it, which can be very insightful. So as you leave this period, it's probably going to feel more relief. To be honest with you, you're probably going to feel a nice relief from it. And it probably has helped you gain some insight. You might also get like a nice little like event that happens that kind of solidifies that for you. But that's what I would say about that placement. Dreams have been nuts lately. Oh yeah, dreams are gonna get even crazier with full moon Scorpio aspecting Neptune so crazy. Like it's gonna get even crazier. Let's see, you're glowing today. Oh, thank you. I'm just hot. It's hot in here. It is so hot out here in the desert. That's why I'm glowing. I'm hot. That's why I'm glowing. But thank you. I do appreciate that. I was like sitting here talking. I'm like, God, I hope a bead of sweat doesn't just go down my face. Is there gonna be a Taurus birthday reading? Yeah, I did it today. It was uploading. Well, it was uploading. I'm probably gonna make it public after this. Oh, that's right. The question about Aquarius and Scorpio relationships. So I only say this with my own experience. And I said this on Patreon. I haven't said it here on YouTube. Everything I tell you guys is based off of my own experience, the things I read, and what I've seen other people go through. That's where all the sources of my knowledge comes from that I give to you guys. It's from my own research, from my own observation, and what I've seen other people go through. Now, when it comes to, I want to really say this because I think it's really important we carry this into this period, and then I'll get into Aqua Scorpio relationships. I promise, I won't forget. But I think it's really important to say this because we're going to be moving into a time where people are going to be really confused. Like, what's the truth? What's the truth? What's really reality? What is reality? I don't know. The truth of it is, guys, the reality that we create as a collective and individually, because we've had all this timeline changing and jumping, is anyone truly wrong in what they believe as their reality, right? Like if someone is asleep, right? Someone's asleep and their reality is a certain way, like the old paradigm, is that really wrong? It's really their reality. It might not be yours, but it's theirs. You know what I mean? And I've also come to realize that a lot of sharing information, that if someone has a different experience than I do, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means that that's their experience and that there's actually something to take away from that. Take it like collecting data. That's how I look at it, as collecting data. So as we enter into this time that's really confusing, listen to what people tell you. And if it doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate, and that's fine. But we need to move away from telling people they're wrong, right? I know my experience and I know my beliefs, and that is my truth, and that's all it needs to be. And I share it with you guys. I share my truth with you guys. That's all I need to be. By the way, any of you like ascended beings, like beings of sovereignty, that's all you need to be right now. Like people who are on the front lines as light workers, all you need to be is your truth. That's all you need to do to change shit. That's all you need to do. All right. So like people will comment like, you're so wrong, you're so this, you're so that. I don't care. I don't care because it's my truth. And it just needs to be that. And your truth just needs to be your truth as long as you figure it out from a place of higher levels of understanding within your higher self. Okay, anyway, so moving on to Aquarius and Scorpio relationships. So what I'm about to say, I'm just going to talk about it from my experience because I've dated a lot of Aquarians and I'm a Scorpio. I've dated a lot of them. And I think the reason I've dated a lot of them is because my North Node is Aquarius. And I think I'm just drawn to them because I have to learn from them, right? So Aquarius and Scorpios, they can get along really well. They really can, because Aquariuses, they love anything that is atypical, out of the box, anything that's kind of like a mystery or like not the norm. Scorpios epitomize that. Scorpios are pure mystery, right? Scorpios also have deep knowing and deep understanding. Whether they share it or not, that's just what they possess. So Aquas can't get enough of that. They love that. They love that. Now, where it can get a little funky is that when it comes to relationships, this is just typically, right? Typically, Aquarians really like their freedom. They really like to flirt. They're very charming. That might be a little much for Scorpio. Scorpio likes a flirt, but they don't like them flirting with anybody else but them, right? Scorpio's like a little bit more of that closeness and intimacy. And if you have like a Scorpio stellium, you might lean into the shadow of a Scorpio. There are high vibe and low vibe Scorpios, right? A low vibe Scorpio might be a little bit possessive, a little jealous, a little envious. Well, a high vibe Scorpio might not necessarily be that way, but Scorpios like their intense closeness and they don't want it shared with other people as far as romantic relationships are concerned. So that's where Aquarius and Scorpio might not go so well, but they get drawn to each other really, really easily, really easily. So it's a fun friendship. Awesome friendships between Aquas and Scorpios. When it goes romantic, it can be really fun, but long term, it can be difficult. But that's the other thing too, because when an Aquarius decides they want to commit, they're in because they're a fixed sign. So when Aquarius decides that you are theirs and they really do want to like settle down, which can take a long time, depending on the person's chart, because we're just talking about sign energy, right? Depending on the person's chart, if they really choose you and decide like you're theirs, then they are going to be all in and they're going to show you that fixed loyalty that Scorpios would really like. So it really just depends. But that's my 2 cents on Aquas and Scorpios for my own experience. Let's see. Yes, almost 2 years. 0 degrees Sag here. You get Cusper. Is she going by sign? Oh no, someone just asked me about that. So I just was talking about it. I'm like at the end of these videos, I like to just hang out and talk with you guys a little bit. Wax philosophical, so to speak. Yeah, so someone had just asked me and they, sent a super chat. So I just, was going to answer that. Gemini and Scorpio, kind of the same reason. Geminis and Scorpios drawn to each other for the same reason. Oh my God. I feel like, are we going to talk about my dating life? I've like only dated Aquas, Geminis, and Cancers. They're like the only ones I've exclusively dated. Like one Capricorn. Anyway, yeah, Gemini is like Scorpios for that same reason. The mystery. Excuse me. And because Geminis are about knowledge, all of a sudden I got nasally. What the hell is that? And because Geminis really crave knowledge, again, Scorpios, deep knowledge, it's like they love it. They love that. Plus, a Gemini is very flirty, is very fun. And Scorpios do know how to have a good time. Sometimes Scorpios can be serious, depends on like what else is going on the person's chart. Geminis, I actually find like Geminis to be very sexual. I do find that. I don't know if it's because of the twin thing, but I do find Geminis to be very sexual. So it's like there's a lot of compatibility with Geminis and Scorpios, even though it's like water with air. Excuse me. Even like people I've seen in that pairing, like outside of my own experience. Yeah, I've seen a lot of chemistry between Geminis and Scorpios. It's like the dark with the dark. It's like it's something with that. It's like darkness like matching the darkness. It's like a fun playground for Geminis and Scorpios. And also because Scorpios are all about digging deep and like research and knowledge, Geminis can't get enough of that. Geminis need cerebral stimulation. They need that in a relationship. So it's like the only way to really catch a Gemini's attention or to keep a Gemini, it's like you got to stimulate their mind. Like, you know that phrase, like, the way to a man's heart is through their stomach? The way to a Gemini is through the mind. It truly is. It truly is. So, and Scorpios are great for that because Scorpios are about depth and research and what truth really is. So yeah, that's another reason why they do go hand in hand together, even though it's an air sign with a water sign. Good, because I'm madly in love with a Scorpio. Aw, that's cute. That's cute. What about Scorpio and Scorpio? You know, personally, I've never dated a Scorpio. I've always wondered what that would be like. I've always wondered what that would be like. I've never had the opportunity to date a Scorpio. As far as like seeing it, because I've seen it before. I've seen Scorpios with Scorpios. To be honest with you, I find for the most part, it doesn't go well. I mean, of course, it always depends on the person's chart. And I have to say that no matter who you are and who you're with, whatever your sun sign is and their sun sign is, it always comes down to the full chart. Always. But if we're talking Scorpio and Scorpio energy, it's a lot. Like, that's a lot of intensity. That's a lot. I honestly haven't seen it work out. I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does out there, but I haven't seen it because for Scorpio to feel comfortable with someone, there has to be a lot of sharing of information, and Scorpios take information out of people. So if you have two Scorpios, it's like, who's going to do the digging, right? Like, who's going to dig the truth out of the other? It's really hard. Was it hard? It's like, if a Scorpio is dealing with another Scorpio, they kind of already know a lot of the other Scorpio. Like, there's a lot of psychic on psychic connection that goes on there, but a Scorpio likes to be engaged, right? A Scorpio likes to be spoken to. A Scorpio likes to be a part of the conversation as an observer and an analyzer. They like to get shit out of people. They don't want to sit there in silence with somebody and just like get psychic information off of the other. They want to have that play with that verbal play with them. Yeah, I haven't seen it work very well. And then if you think about like bedroom stuff, can you tell I'm a Scorpio? I always think about the bedroom component. I always think about the bedroom component. Again, I've never had that experience myself. Yeah, I just see it as being a little bit of a tug and war of like who's gonna play what role, because no Scorpio wants to be super submissive and no Scorpio wants to do a lot of talking. They want to get the other person to do all the talking. Yeah, I just don't see it going super well, but I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does for some people out there. Let's see. Best candle color. Oh, there's a question. Well, let me think about that. We have a lot of Pisces. We have a lot of Taurus. It is a full moon, and then Scorpio. Ooh, I'm torn. I'm torn between white or purple. I'm torn between white or purple for that. But I would go with one of those, white or purple. Let's see. Scorpio is good, LOL. I'm a Virgo, the Scorpio that will not stop pursuing me. Hold on. Even as a match, as I tell him to get lost, they are persistent. It must be my Venus in Scorpio he admires. I wonder what, wait, your Venus in Scorpio. I wonder what their Jupiter is. But yeah, Virgos. That's another interesting combo. I've had so many friends that are Virgos. So many. That's so many that are Virgos. Hold on, Brenda, thanks for the 100. Again, I don't know what kind of currency that is. What does it mean to be intimate with someone in dreams that you haven't met, but talking online since eight plus months? It means that you're thinking about them, or they're thinking about you, or that you actually met up to interact with each other. That's what it means. As far as like having sexual encounters in other dimensions, like your higher selves doing that, there are various reasons for it. Like, I was doing that for quite some time with somebody, like very consistently, but we were doing healing. Like, it was actually like healing work that we were doing in that way. So yeah, there are various reasons for it, but that's what I would say. You're thinking about them, they're thinking about you, or your higher selves needed to do it for some reason or another. Let's see. Oh, Leo with Scorpio. So again, I haven't dated a lot of Leos, but I've known a lot of Leos. And I have had friends that are Leos. I think it could work, to be honest with you. I think that there are parts about that connection that can work, even though typically, stereotypically, it's supposed to be a really rough connection. Now, My mother's a Leo. So what I've learned about how it can really work, because when it's good between a Leo and a Scorpio, it's really good, right? Like Leos and Scorpios are all about loyalty. Straight up, all about loyalty. All about that. And if a Scorpio knows they're going to get that, they're pretty much all in. If a Leo knows they're going to get that, they're pretty much all in. Now, here's where it gets complicated. Leos are also like, they're fire, right? They're fire. They're the sun. It's like, think of like the sun versus Mars and Pluto. Like, when it's bad, it can be really bad because Leos and Scorpios don't give in. They don't. They don't give in. They don't submit. So if there's like a fight that happens, one of them has to learn to submit and be okay with that. And I can almost guarantee you that will take years to learn. I think about all the fights I've had with my mother over the years and how long it took us to like learn that. And even now it's like sometimes when we have a fight, it's like, I'm not going to submit. It's like, like it's really hard to do. It's really hard to do. But I think there can be a lot of benefit to that kind of a connection. Like there's a lot of love that can happen in that connection because both signs are so loving. Leos are so generous. They're so loyal. They're so caring. They're giving, right? They like to shower people with like gifts, especially. Gifts are a big thing for Leos, I've noticed. They like to shower people with gifts, and Scorpios are all about showering people with love, and a Leo loves that. But when the shadows come out, it can become disastrous from what I've seen and what I've experienced. Let's see. Hold on. Where did it go? Love Allie. She's fantastic. Yeah, Allie's pretty cool. She's pretty cool. See, we're friends and we make it work. Hold on, let me come back down here. Well, Virgo and Pisces, that's like a natural complement. Typically, everybody's chart plays, it creates different dynamics there. But let me think about that. Virgo and Pisces. I feel like Virgo, it's interesting with that dynamic because they are known as like a complement, like Taurus is with Scorpio, Aries is with Libra. I feel like Virgo would have a lot of the control, which is like, it's weird I want to say that. Because I feel like relationships shouldn't have control, but I feel that way. Like Virgo would probably be dominant. Virgo would probably call the shots. Virgo would probably make sure the foundation is set up in the right way. And as long as like Pisces feels cared for, I think things will be fine. And Virgo's great at that. Like Virgo is really great at nurturing. I find Virgos to be very motherly in their own right, whether they're male or female. And Pisceans need that. Pisceans need that love. But if you have like a shadowy Virgo, Pisces will just feel really controlled. And it can become, I think that can become toxic if you have, and again, anytime you have shadowy anything or, anything that's distorted, anything could turn toxic. But yeah, I just think Virgos would be very like they would initiate the dating process. They would initiate how things go to the next level. I just feel like they'd be the major initiator and almost like a provider energy. Like I will take care of this. I will put this in place. You will be taken care of. You will be fine. I feel that. Like I really feel that. But again, everyone's chart creates different dynamics. How will the full moon in Scorpio affect Taurus? Just wondering. Oh, okay. Actually, that's a good segue into the degrees. I probably should have talked about the degrees way ahead of time, and I did not. So actually, let's talk about that because I think that will help some of you guys. So it all depends on your houses. Okay, wait a minute. Where are my chart of degrees? Oh, there it is. Hold on. Let me go through this here. Let me just get a little more organized. All right, so we have Gemini 21. We've got Pisces 20 degrees. And then we've got Taurus 20 degrees is a big highlighted one. Scorpio 17 degrees, of course. Right. Oh yeah, I guess that is everything. Oh wow. And then of course the late degree Capricorn. Wow, there's actually not that much to look for degree-wise. God, this is probably going to overload some of our houses. Okay, so let's talk about houses and degrees for how this is like going to affect you guys. So when I say houses, like I always say, because I know I had some new people come in here, I try to like talk about this every video, but I know some people still feel confused. Try to like Google it if like my explanation's not enough. Oh, I can't, I'm so blind. Thank you for the $20. Thanks for all the positive insight. My sun in Libra, moon in Aqua, and Aries rising. Just had bad words with my boyfriend. Oh, I'm sorry. His sun is Libra, moon in Sag, Aries rising. Thanks for being such a ray of light. Excuse me. Well, thank you. I'm so sorry to fight though. I know it's like not fun and not pleasant. Janelle, thank you for the 499. Scorpio 7th house. Gemini North Node, degrees. I hope you survive this supermoon. Oh, I will survive. I'm excited. This is a good supermoon. It's super positive. It's super positive. Okay, so let's talk about the houses. So like I said, when you look up your chart, you look for your rising sign, and then it will list the houses with the sign and degree placements. Like where the sign and degree placements are for your houses, that's where those specific houses start for you. Okay, and it's a range. So you look at your third house, you see where that degree and sign placement is. That's where it starts. The next house, whatever placement that is, that's the end point of your third house. Okay, so they're ranges. So the houses that will be affected will follow this. Okay, so Taurus 20 degrees, Pisces 20 degrees, Gemini 21 degrees, and Scorpio 17 degrees. And then for like all the collapse stuff, all of that happening, you might really feel that in your life more wherever your house falls for like 25 degree Capricorn to 29 degree Capricorn, because we have a couple planets in Capricorn. But yeah, so just look for those degree placements to see what houses for you will be affected. I'll repeat it one more time. Gemini 21 degrees, Pisces 20 degrees, Taurus 20 degrees, and Scorpio 17 degrees. Okay. My Taurus moon 20 degrees. Perfect. You're just gonna be emotional. Okay. You're just gonna be emotional. We'll put it that way. It depends on also like what house your moon falls in. Let's see. Vedic versus Western. So I used to talk about this. I haven't talked about it in a while. So I used to study Vedic. I do everything in Tropic, and I like Vedic. I do. I haven't, like I said, I put it down. I haven't studied it in a while. I might pick it back up just to study it more. But I do like it. I think it's very interesting the way it works, and I like that they have the nakshatras, which is basically kind of like when you think about degrees, right? Like assigned degrees, like 0 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, whatever. Nakshatras kind of act as that, right? Like in a way, because you usually have 3 nakshatras per sign. So it's really kind of interesting. And people have asked me like, which one is more accurate? Honestly, like I've said, actually, like I even said earlier, none of it's inaccurate. They're all just different ways of classifying energy. That's it. It's just different ways of classifying energy. Some people will say no, Vedic is better, Tropic is better. It's not an argument. It's not an argument. They all just classify energy differently. That's it. So you can follow both and have fun with it. Take whatever you want from it. I really feel like it's just more information out there to learn from. That's how I look at it. That's how I look at it. How do we find our nodes? Oh, you just look up your chart and the chart will tell you. Tropical resonates with me more, but I'm still learning. Yeah, like there are a couple things I've looked at my chart in Vedic that really resonate with me more so than Tropic, but there's also stuff in my Tropic chart that resonates with me more because it's energy, right? Energy is fluid. It's not linear. And the way that these schools of thought even came about, there were human beings that basically said, Aries starts here, Taurus starts here, Gemini starts here. It's a human being that did that, right? Trying to isolate energy, but you can't isolate energy. Energy is energy. So we can try as hard as we can to come up with all these different ways of classifying energy from an astrological point of view. And obviously, like comparing past events helps us to kind of utilize it better. Right? Like when you watch astrologers, they'll bring up like when this aspect last happened, how it can relate, how we might see like a repeating like pattern or effect. And, more often than not, it does hold true because energy is energy. But it's also not an exact science because it's energy. So I think they're both interesting. I'm also studying Mayan astrology too. Right now, I have a book that I started it and then I put it down because I got really busy with stuff. I need to pick that back up again. But there's so many different schools of study when it comes to astrology. But yeah, I just think they have a lot to offer as far as information is concerned. But I would never say that we have an accurate astrological system right now. Yeah, I don't think I'd ever say that, actually. Like I've thought about how could we combine it all? I'm like, it's still energy. Like you still can't classify it that way. It's always gonna bleed into a spectrum, always. And even if you try to like divide up the spectrum, it's still a spectrum. It's like, you know what I mean? So anyway, not to go on and on about that. I'm such a nerd. Let's see. Vedic doesn't resonate with me. Hi there. I'm going to pray for you. This energy you speak about. Oh, let's see. Anyway, okay, where were we? Your Scorpio read actually was talking about my New York Aquarius, resonate 100%. Oh, well, good. I'm glad. Let's see. People always say, look at your dreams, but I never remember having a dream when I wake up. Oh, that's okay. That happens. It happens to people. It happens to me too. Sometimes that happens, and I get really mad when that happens, to be honest with you. I get a little ticked off. Sometimes it's a wiping that happens, and like for me, I can tell when it's a wiping, like it's been cosmically wiped from my memory. Versus I can get it back, because sometimes you come out of it and it's like you just kind of get put in the 3D like really quickly. You can always get it back if you lay there and you tell yourself you'll remember, like give yourself that time and space to do that, and it can come back. But I can tell when they've wiped me when that last bit of image almost looks like a tunnel. Like that's when I realize they're wiping me. Like they pull me out so fast because they're wiping me that it's like almost like a tunnel, like I'm being sped backwards. I've realized that. And like I'll come out of it and I'm like, damn it. It's like, fine, whatever. I swear I was nosy about the reading for the 13th zodiac sign. Oh, that new system, right? I forget, that came out like a few years ago, or am I like forgetting how old I was when that came out? Yeah, when they changed the zodiac signs to add a 13th one. I actually remember being a little irritated about that. Yeah, I think I was young. I think I was like a lot younger. I feel like I was like in some kind of schooling at the time. Was I in college or high school? Oh shoot, I don't know. Let's see. I haven't seen a lot of double digits for the past few days. Oh, cool, synchronicities. Let's see, watching from Kenya. Hey, Kenya. All right, guys. So it seems like this was a good little chit chat. For those who came late or who were confused, it's so funny, right? Because like we were talking about how it's going to be difficult for us to perceive information. Like we're going to be confused when people talk to us. Isn't that so funny? And I was seeing that too. Like people were saying that they're really confused. And we are just a couple days out from oh shit, hold on. I should go, I'm so hot. I want to go shower. But I thought that was interesting. We were talking about how it's going to be really hard for people to take in information from what people say. Like people will be really confused. And isn't it so funny? I saw so many comments of, I'm too confused, I'm too confused, I'm too confused, I'm too confused. So I think that energy is probably, like I said, probably already hitting some of us pretty good. But anyway, so yeah, just go back and rewatch for those who came late, or if you're confused, it's going to be here for you guys to rewatch at any time. I was irritated by that too. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting. I was like, oh, how funny. And something else I'm also realizing, because, and again, I take in information, I just like dissect the hell out of it. I'm such a freaking Scorpio. Because we have a lot of this like struggling, I said I was going to go and I'm not, but we have a lot of this struggling with polarity, right? And this whole like, they're wrong, I'm right, they're wrong, I'm right. I think that's also part of this confusion that we're going to be having as people tell us information, because psychically we're going to know the truth. And we're going to know when people are lying to us about personal stuff. Like we're going to know that. But if someone's speaking their truth, I think we are also going to see a lot more confusion happen there, because people will be speaking their truth. And with polarity and regressing back into that, or at least the chance of regressing back into that, is going to really prevent us from embracing other people's truths. So that's kind of interesting. I just realized that. And that's definitely polarity at work, right? Yeah, interesting. Wow, that's where I am. When is the Cancer check-in? Sometime in the next few days. I don't have it scheduled right now. I did Taurus. There are a couple things I've been thinking about working on. So it just depends on what feels right in the moment. That's how I run my channel, and that is how I live my life. What feels right energetically at the time. because I know that that's exactly how it should work and how it should function. It will come. It will come when it needs to. It'll come when it needs to. Shoot, come back. Oh, now it goes too fast. I was trying to read the comments and it disappeared on me. I'd love to hear your take on the energy from the Palladians. Oh, that's interesting. So what was really fascinating is that, okay, this last thing and then I'm going to go. I swear, this last thing, and then I promise I am going to be disciplined in getting off of here. Excuse me. The Palladians. So I had a lot of like galactic interaction and visitations when I first moved. And I've noticed like in the last week or so, they've really died down a lot. And I thought, well, maybe it was just kind of like a first strike, like a first little, like, not strike, that's totally the wrong word. Like maybe it was kind of like the first wave of like, of connecting and like really getting the attention of light workers, like all at the same time. And then it's like, okay, we got your attention. Okay, get back to your stuff. Sort of an energy, you know what I mean? And as far as Palladians are concerned, so here's what was interesting to me. And I think this is why I struggled with the visitations, because I'm Carrion, right? Like I resonate with my Carrion higher self so much. I'm sure I have a higher self somewhere, or I've had some past lives somewhere rooted in Palladian origins. I'm sure I have, because I know I recognize how old like my higher self is. But I resonate so much with Carrions, and I've worked so much with Carrions. I haven't worked a lot with Palladians, right? And the visitations I had, I'm pretty sure were from Lyrians, which is like a branch off of like Palladians, right? And I remember feeling so uncomfortable. And I think because I knew instinctively like they weren't Carrion. And I think that's what like kind of like put me on edge. And I did have trouble with it. Like I had trouble embracing that. And I kind of like, I was a little mad at myself, but at the same time, it's also just bringing stuff up that I have to work through. And then I work through it. I work through some of that stuff. As far as Palladians are concerned, I do believe that they're benevolent in nature. I don't really, and that's the thing, like I said, I've worked so much with Carrions, I haven't worked with Palladians in a very intimate way. So I don't really have much to say about Palladians. I don't have much to say about it, other than I know that they have a lot of influence right now on the collective. Like I know they're really close to the collective, and they're doing a lot with the collective, whether you've had a visitation or not. You know what I mean? But it feels positive, it feels good. I almost feel like maybe they're here, they've been coming around to really help us with integrating this new reality with unity consciousness and 5D reality into the physical plane. I think that's really what they're here to help us do. And it's also interesting because I've noticed this with some light workers where things have become more like physical, like not interactions, but like reality. The way we understand spirituality has become so much more physical than it has like felt like up there somewhere. You know what I mean? Excuse me. And I think there's been a struggle with that. But that needs to happen. Like we need to have more of a physical connection in a spiritual way with not just Gaia and our reality, but also our guides. We need to have a more physical understanding and connection of it so we can actually integrate it, right? And we can actually like bring it into the existence. Yeah, so that's what I have to say about it. I'm the kind of person where like, I'll like, if you give me like a good question, like I really will sit there and like really digest it. It's just a Scorpio in me. Like I'll really digest it. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on Palladian and like recent interactions, all of that. Oh, look at all the comments. Oh wait, no, I said I was gonna go. I just remembered. I said I was gonna go. So I'm gonna go now. I hope you guys have a really good night. I hope you guys really enjoyed talking about the full moon, and I hope you guys have a really good one. Set your intentions, of course, and really embrace it, man. Like it's a positive one. You might as well embrace it. We haven't had a positive new moon or full moon in a while, right? So just embrace it. But anyway, so I'm gonna go. I love you guys. Thank you again for all the super chats. Anima, sorry, I just saw that one. Hold on. Does the name Shu ring a bell to you? Had a session with Missing Adriana. I embody Shu, it turns out. Shu is the son of Ra, who's a lion Illyrian. That one doesn't, but that makes so much sense that you would be part of like the Egyptian sector, since like you've been part of my Patreon collective for so long. And like you and I have talked. So it makes so much sense. But let's talk more about that on Patreon, actually. Just because, you YouTube is not all of like the galactic people. But anyway, I'm gonna go. I love you guys. I love you. I will see you soon. Thank you everybody for coming out. Thank you everybody for the super chats. And thank you again for all my moderators who came out. And Allie, I definitely saw you. I think Danny and Brooke were in here. I think maybe I caught a glimpse of them. I'm not sure. But yeah, thank you guys. Really appreciate it and enjoy this full moon. I'll see you later. Namaste.